Might have a dirty camera here. Hang on. Oh, it's better. Had a bit of stuff over it. How you doing? You all right? Probably a bit of hair gel. What? Easy. Nice to see you. Happy New Year to you. How we all doing? We all good? Oh, I certainly hope you are. I really do. Yeah. So been out for a little velo this morning, which some of you came on my journey with me. And my word, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of fun right there. That really is a lot of fun. Lovely to see you. I hope you're doing all right. Let's see what's happening here. Who's watching, who's not watching. Perhaps everyone's doing stuff. Perhaps New Year's Day is perhaps not the time to be doing live streaming. Who knows? I'm going to give this feed a little bit longer. It's saying that we've got 4 people. Hello. How's everyone doing? You all right? New Year's honours list. Tony Blair. Can you believe that? The Queen has given Tony Blair the New Year's honours list. My goodness. Phony Tony. Really? Who's ringing me? Somebody's ringing me. Jockey Bobman. I can't speak in a minute. I'm on a YouTube live and I'm just about to go out in a minute. Going up to some friends for a lovely bit of dinner. Lauren Page, how you doing, darling? Nice to see you. I'm Ben Dow. Oi. Claire Stevens, how are you, doll? You all right? Happy New World Order, sunshine. Yes, exactly right. I've got my one armband. It's on. Lovely to see you all. So yeah, it's warm. It's beautiful. It's about 12, 13 degrees outside. It's January. He's a murderer. So what he done? Exactly. You know, I've always, right, my whole life, ever since a kid, growing up, I've always looked at what goes on as just completely upside down. I've always thought, how can you make someone who's a war criminal, like murdered lots of people, a Nobel Peace Prize winner? So I don't get it, and I never want to get it. Trust me, I don't want to get it. I really don't. I really don't. I've got about 20 minutes, half hours with you, peeps. Anyway, I hope you're all doing good. I hope you had a nice festive time period and that you was left alone, that the bully boys didn't come round and make you have it. And I'm looking forward to a very, 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 very prosperous and good 2022. Claire Stevens, you're looking good. Oh, thanks, Doc. Oh, I tell you what, I don't polish up for an old bird. We're all right, mate. We're all right. There's something going to kick off this year. Like someone says, "Oh, I can feel it in my waters," or you get like a mystic Meg says, "Oh, it's in your tea leaves," or like, "Oh, it's in the crystal ball." I've got this feeling that the big things are coming this year. And also, right, the other thing as well is I had a beautiful conversation with a man called Michael last night, and he was on the phone to me for about an hour until he got into the shower, and I said, "Make sure you wash behind your ears, Flower." You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind if it was a nice young lady, but it was a fella. But it is what it is. Some fellas might like that, might they? Look at me, I'm Mr. PC, not Mr. PC, not. Yes. But they're now taking on the banks, you see, and for mortgages and all these other bits, and they're getting their sweat equity back. And it's a joy to see. The banking sector must be, and he's not isolated. He's in teams of thousands of people now going after the banks for all their equitable stuff back because of the deception that the system's been using all these years. Honestly, guys, I'll tell you, there is so many good people out there. It is unbelievable. There really, really are some fabulous, fantabulous people out there. And I always think about it in this way. Why would you as a country create and operate in a system that harms you, that beats you up? You got men in uniform, taser in your testicles. Why would you even consider that to be acceptable, tolerable? I certainly don't. I know that we've had a very jaded past with violence. We even boiled a man in a pot in Smithfields or Haymarket. We boiled him up. I'm trying to think who that was that we boiled up, but we boiled someone up with some vegetables and all that. I don't know, but anyway, they boiled him up in a market as a death penalty, a bit like a boiling frog in a pot, which I think a lot of us are like boiling frogs in a pot. You don't never see the temperature sort of getting. You don't pay attention, do you? Like if you get in a jacuzzi and it's a bit chilly, you might say to someone, "Oh, it's a bit cold. Can you turn it up?" But then you'll get to a point and you realise actually I'm quite hot. But you're not paying attention to that incremental rise, are you? Do you know what I mean? You're either hot or you're either cold or in the middle. And I think we're a bit like that. So our past has always been, we used to love racking people up, pulling them, stretching them out on the rack. We used to do all sorts. We Traitors Gate. We used to tie them down to the mud and watch the tide come in and watch them all perish. So we do have a bit of a wicked history. And I, when I was born and growing up as a young man, I always thought that I lived in a very forward-thinking, beautiful country that loved its people and done all this and that. And when I found out I was quite wrong, it hurt. It hurt. And when I'd love to get a list from the National Health, right, of reported incidents of people that have been taken to hospital from police violence. I'm telling you now, it would pale into complexion of what our ancestors used to do. And I'll give you, for instance, I'm not talking gibberish. I've got a lady friend of mine, and she was, do you remember years ago, lads? And the lads is probably going to remember this a little bit more than the ladies, sorry. The Virgin Atlantic advert, where the girls and the pilot were walking through the thing, and it was all about Virgin, and the kid, instead of squirting tomato sauce on his hot dog, it's going all down his top. Well, she was one of them girls, very, very, very pretty blonde girl. Well, she lives up in sort of Blackpool way, up near the Blackpool Tower and all that, beautiful part of the country. And a few years ago, they moved, her and her husband was a serving policeman at the time, but he got sacked from his job. I don't know what for. And I think he moved out and she was on her own. Very, very, very beautiful, pretty lady. I mean, I can't imagine ever wanting to beat anyone up or carve them up or dislocate their shoulders. But what's coming next is quite harrowing. She was outside in the garden, right, trimming her bush, and her neighbours come flying out, and he weren't happy with the shape of what she was doing to her bush, and he said, "You're going to regret ever messing with me." And this boy was a senior Freemason, right? Now, many people have said, "Which you're a Mason." I'm not in any Masonry, any Knights Templars. I've got no time for it, and I'm not saying I haven't been invited in. I have. I've been invited to the dinners, and I'm just not interested. I'm really not. So she thought, what does he mean? I'm only trimming my bush, and it's my bush to trim. Well, anyway, a few weeks have gone past, and she's there on her own, and there's a knock at the door. And this is how quick this happens. By the way, ladies and gentlemen. About 9 o'clock of an evening on a Friday night, she looks out the front window, and there's a little police squad car. So she thinks, oh, perhaps something's kicked off. She opens up the door, and before you can say boo to goose, 2 police individuals, a man and a woman, have forced their way into her home. And one of them's gone to touch her, and she's flown her hands up in the air. And they've screamed, "Assault! Oh, that's assault on a policeman! Oh!" And the next thing, she's laying on the floor, and the female officer is looking over her laughing, whilst the male officer has got hold of her ear and he's punching her in the face. And he's dribbling in her face like pigs do at the same time. And she see the lights going out. She was going to go unconscious. She said, "God, let me see my kids again." She woke up. She woke up in a police cell, naked, where she'd messed herself because of what they did to her. They dislocated her shoulder. She required plenty of surgery on it and done all sorts of other injuries to her. Did these two police individuals ever face any criminal prosecution for that? Nah. That's fucking evil. And I don't care. I don't think there's any other way you can dress that shit up. Sad part about this is that's not isolated. And that's why I would love to see the amount of reports within the NHS where the NHS have had to patch up the damage caused by these people. And I've said for a very, very, very long time that police cells in this country are torture chambers. That's what they are. They're torture chambers. Now, I'm not suggesting that we don't need law and order. We do. We need the rule of law. We need people that profess to be righteous that are going to keep the law. So that if somebody is kicking off, yeah, put them in a cell, let them calm it off. But that's it. You don't beat them up. Battery cells. They're battery cells. Another one of my mates, quite a few years ago, was running a scrap dealership in Essex. Ponytailed a lot. Got about 19 stone, this fella. Proper Herbert. He wouldn't go over to the government system of paying people online by the BACS transfers and all these other things. He was insisting on carrying on using the Queen's Nelsons. You know them little Queen's notes that tickle your testicles when they're in your pocket? Anyway, he got a visit from the transport police. And he had a container, you know, like the long 5 metre long containers. He'd cut some windows in, turned it into an office. Quite secure. Seen them on Grand Designs, haven't we? Geezer made castles out of them things, turns them upright, does all sorts, puts turrets on them. Quite clever. So they're cutting through the bars with an angle grinder and he's got his head up against the window. Did they stop? No. If he didn't move his head, would they have ground into his head? You fucking betcha. Dragged him out by tasering his testicles. He was tasered by his testicles. They dragged him out. He said, Dave, these wannabes took me to a cell in London where I must have gone down about 10 levels. And there's these big, long rows of cells either side. Demonic. They took me into a cell. Me and my mate Eddie, I do believe, was in there and all. They've used restraining techniques. He said, I thought I was dying. He said, and when I woke up, I'd shit myself. Because that's what you do. That's what you do. When you're dying and you feel like you're dying, you shit yourself. It's a natural reaction that the body goes through. No charge. Nothing ever happened. But they bashed the granny out of him. I don't like this. They took him, actually, the van ride was really interesting on the way. He's hog-tied with handcuffs, very tight, cutting into his wrists. He's in the back of a van while these two officers are in the front of the van, and he's rolling around the back of this van on his chin. And they're laughing at him. Serves you right. Yeah, we've got the power. We have special powers. Well, no, I'm sorry. I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that's proper. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. We're not supposed to tolerate. We're very tolerant people. And part of that tolerance is ignorance. Because we allow this all to go on, but we turn this blind eye. We go, I ain't got time for it. But it's happening. Just wonder. Who's that? Kelly, David felt yesterday because you had live chat with no sound. Keep in touch. Let us know what you think. Thanks so much. Kelly Josephine Dunhill. Yeah, I've done a live stream yesterday on my Facebook. For some reason, for the first one I did, the mic weren't working, but we stopped it and we started it again. So, yeah. Guys, listen, I've got about 3 or 4 minutes. My missus just going indoors. Is she going indoors now to get changed? Because we've got to be nipping out in a minute. So I really wanted to sort of say to you guys, Happy New Year. Try not to walk around with your eyes shut. I'm just saying, pay attention. Watch what's going on. Watch what is genuinely going on, what these public servants... See, public servants are supposed to butter your bread. You're not supposed to butter their bread. They're not supposed to be greater than you. We're all supposed to be equal. That's what this country was founded on. Equal, fairness, integrity, honour. Do you reckon the Shard is demonic? Very probably. Very, very probably. Who knows? You'd have to go there and feel that energy, really. I know when I'm in a place that's got bad energy, and I can't hang around in there long. I really can't. Yeah, I really can't. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But all I'm saying is there's millions of people now turning out on the streets of London and all other towns and that around the country. And I think that something big's going to happen in 2022, a leveller of sorts. And I think the greatness is coming back. I think the good times need to roll again. People are now being priced out of food, mortgages, and energy bills. And I think the energy bills, the energy costs, when they double and triple this year, are going to be a massive catalyst for people to pay attention. Because here's the thing. Everyone's at home watching EastEnders, sucking on a turkey bone. Fabulous. All having a nice time. No problem. They're not really paying attention because they've got no real need to pay attention unless it comes and kicks them in the bits. Then they pay attention. That's all that happened to me. The system tried to play hard with me and it got me thinking. That was all it did. So when these people are struggling to pay and being it in the pocket, and then they've got the bailiffs coming round and they've got the courts and all this paperwork, these big red letters coming through the letterbox, that's when they're going to pay attention. That's when they're going to want to do something about it. And sadly, that's the truth. It's going to need, and I just wonder whether government are trying to do this for a reason, to wake people up, for them to realise who they are. Maybe that's just to be the case, because I can't see why any country would allow this level of violence and wickedness. It's not our way, guys. We like fairness. We like decency. That's what we do as a people and as a country, right? And before I disappear, I want to leave you with this. I stopped this morning in my Velomobile and chatted with a woman, and because she was saying to me, what is that? And I was explaining to her, and she said, because she said, oh, I vote because of Emmeline Pankhurst and the suffragettes and all that. And I said, look, I explained to her my YouTube channel and all that. A turd will not go if you don't flush the chain, Dave. We need to flush Parliament now. I agree with you, Chris. I do agree. Very great analogy, by the way, there, mate. That's like a Chinese proverb, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. I might start using that one. A turd will not go if you don't flush the chain, Dave. Yes, I'm going to start using that. So anyway, Emmeline Pankhurst, turn of the century, kicking off incensed of the way women are treated. Campaigned hard. There were people that died outside Buckingham Palace, I do believe, Parliament, run over by horses. I can't forget the name of the woman that got run over and killed. But this is the point. They've now erected a statue of Emmeline Pankhurst, and everybody, every woman in this country holds her in their hearts as a heroine, because to them, she died for them so that they may vote, that they may have a voice, blah, 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 blah. But back when Emmeline Pankhurst was doing what she was doing, if you don't think the country and the gentlemen and the establishment didn't and tried to stop her and thought of her as a pain in the rectum, you're mistaken. So this is how you go from being a right pain in the arse to then later on in life being held as someone that wouldn't say no, that wouldn't stand down, that drove her core belief through and did what she did. The same as Rosa Parks did years ago when segregation, no blacks allowed. She sat on a bus and was told to move. And the word she used was no. She told them very clearly, no. And Rosa Parks, if you go and find out about Rosa Parks, is known as a heroine, and rightly so, because in the face of adversity and all the pressures that was on her, she didn't budge. She had her handbag. She stood firm. I am not moving. I am not a freaking slave. I will stand up for my God-given rights. And that's what she did. And that's what Emmeline Pankhurst did. She stood up. Stood up. She stood up for herself, okay? That was set up by the communists. Maybe. But she was at the time when she was doing what she was doing, and here's the thing, with 1 million people in London the other week, the rest of the country might see them as a pain in the arse, but one day, times and moments like that will be seen in history as people standing up and doing the right thing. And that's what we're here for. All of us together as a collective, Annette Roberts, Jesus Jones, all you, Chris Dunn, all you beautiful, beautiful people that are now talking with your friends and your families and saying, you know, we've had enough. We're not tolerating this no more. You will be playing part in history. You will, together with your collective consciousness and your wisdom and your love for your fellow man, will be recognised as the generation that decided to say, enough's enough. Public servant means exactly what it says on the tin. You serve us. We don't serve you. I'm going to leave you with that. Take care, people. Have a beautiful, beautiful New Year's Day. For those of you that followed me on my Velomobile trip this morning, it was good, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it. Have a good one. We're going to all meet up in the new year, no doubt. Summer's going to be coming. We're going to have a nice time. We've got a few months of probably a little bit chilly. Then the weather's going to change. April, May, we're all going to be out with our lils out, putting some cream in there, rubbing it when the sun. So good times are coming. 2022 is going to be just an absolutely fantabadozy year. I can feel it. I know it. I woke up this morning. I thought, feels good. Feels good. Got a good vibration. Take care, people. Love as always. I'm going out for some nice little bit of dinner now and spend some time with some friends. And not a mask will there be in sight. Take care.